Atheist. This is what I identified with when I was stuck in perfectionism. Atheist. I did not believe in God. I only believed in myself. That I could do anything. That I had the power. That the power was on my shoulders, not a God. It's very interesting how during my Bloom Beyond Perfectionism journey, I've gone full circle. I've gone from not believing in God, being completely godless, thinking that it's all on me to create this life, to coming more and more back to the core essence, the truth, that there's so much more. That I'm not in control. That there's so much that we're not in control over. In fact, a lot of life is learning to surrender control. This is what you truly begin to remember when you bloom beyond perfectionism. And as you do, God shows itself to you. Because when you release control over the outcome, over circumstances, over events, over people, when you stay non-attached, not detached, but non-attached to how things are going to unfold in your life, you open up, you expand, you let synchronicities reveal themselves to you. You let signs come together and show themselves, and you begin to see that things begin to add up, and you can connect the dots, looking back in hindsight, wondering, how on earth did all of this unfold? This is magic. This is magical. This is a miracle. Because I only did so much. And when I tried and worked so hard, and when I thought everything was on my shoulders, I only reached so far, but not further. And it was only when I released myself from this pressure and opened myself up to the universal power, the omnipotent power, infinite intelligence, source, God. I don't care what you name it. It was only then that things begun becoming truly magical, becoming truly beautiful, truly filled with essence, meaning. And so it was when I bloomed beyond my ego and the kind of separation between me and everyone else, and began seeing that we are all one, we're all part of a whole. It was then that this flow came through. I'm not even going to attempt communicating this, because if I sat opposite to the previous version of myself growing up and tried to convince her that there is such thing as God, that there is such thing as a universal power beyond you, I would have been completely closed off and armored up towards that fact. I wouldn't have been receptive to receive it. And so if there's anyone, if you are listening right now, thinking, what is this all about? I don't understand. Where's the facts? Where's the logic? Where's the rationality here? I can't explain that. No one can. But what I can say is that I'm not an atheist anymore. I'm not. I don't identify with that anymore. Because I don't look at the world like that anymore. I don't look at myself as part of such a world anymore, where it's all on me. I don't show up with that paradigm. I don't make decisions and choices from that paradigm. I'm not a materialist anymore. I don't think that the world is made up of matter. And I'm not a perfectionist anymore because of this. Because in order to be a perfectionist, you must see the world as matter, and you must see the world and everything on it as separate from each other. By definition, that is perfectionism. It is looking at the world and yourself and everyone else as separate, and striving for materialistic goals and aspirations. To bloom beyond perfectionism means that you're able to see that everything is not made out of matter. It's made out of meaning. It's made out of meaning. Whatever meaning you put on something. It's made out of energy. And a meaning can only be meaning if there's energy. What we orient towards unconsciously, which means what captures our attention, is meaning. And it captures our attention before we know what it is. So the brain acts as if the world's made out of information are made out of meaning. So being able to see the world and everything in this way, it's a completely different way of life. What I can say is this. When I considered myself to be an atheist who didn't believe in any God whatsoever, or that there was such thing as God, I was very disconnected from myself deep down. I felt empty. I felt really separated from everything and everyone. Like I had to push, prove, and please, obviously, because if everything's separate, then everything's need to be convinced of in order to come together, right? But now, when I see everything as connected and interconnected, there's no need to push, prove, and please anymore, right? There's no need to. I've seen myself evolve spiritually since I made the decision after high school to actually then go travel around the world. And everything opened up then for me, where I saw that there was so much more to what I had believed. There was so much more to this world. There was so much more. And one of the most spiritually activating things, most activated or activating things, was probably when I saw that there were a lot of people that had very little materialistically that seemed way more connected and like they lived from that essence of love than I'd ever done or that anyone around me had ever done. So that in and of itself was an awakening of just observing that, really. And then beyond those experiences that I had when I traveled around the world for years and years and years, beyond that, I obviously have had my heartbreaks. And through the heartbreaks, I've come to discover that the heart miraculously somehow heals itself without needing to force it to. It's this subconscious intelligence that's connected to, I believe, an infinite intelligence that enables us to heal and come alive again. That to me is miraculous. I guess this need to know the reason, the logic behind everything, it's kind of disappeared from my mind. And especially also after having gone to clinical psychology studies a little bit, where I gave it a try. I literally wanted to see what it was like being in such an environment of university in a scientific kind of environment after having been traveling around the world and kind of having my awakenings. I wanted to see how that was. And it just gave me further confirmation that, let's say, depression, very much in a lot of circumstances, is caused by spiritual crises. This is totally what I've seen in helping a lot of high performers with perfectionism, overcoming that. It's seeing how so much of perfectionism is rooted in a deep disconnection with your spirituality, a deep disconnection from what you may call God, infinite intelligence, source. Because when you're disconnected from that, you will not be able to see that there's no need to push prove in place, right? So when you're stuck in perfectionism, that sense of separation, that sense of everything's on my shoulders, it becomes so heavy that you feel a sense of emptiness and a sense of loneliness at the end of the day. And so that is what brought me onto this whole journey of channeling, so to speak, Bloom Beyond Perfectionism. That in and of itself, of channeling and creating Bloom Beyond Perfectionism, that was a spiritual experience of going totally hermit mode for years. And now asking myself, and even during that process, asking myself, where do I get this empowerment from? Where is it coming from? I just feel this pull, this need to, this compelling desire to create this. And I'm not creating it for my selfish, egocentric wants, right? I knew that this was not for me. This was something that I created for you who See yourself as someone who is a high performer, who has perfectionistic tendencies, and who would like to create a life and business of freedom beyond that. And so Bloom Beyond was in many ways channeled. This business, this contribution was channeled, and I don't see myself as someone who would want to take credit for it, because I showed up for so long creating what I'm creating, and I'm continuing to show up for it. And it's like a drive beyond me, that it's like a power beyond me that makes me show up over and over. And this is what keeps me going. It's not the fear of needing to push, prove, and place. It's not the fear of, fear of what others might think if I don't. It's not about that anymore, the way that it was when I showed up from a place of perfectionism, when I was hustling, right? Now it's coming from a place of love, unconditional love. And that is God. But it's God expressing itself through me, right? I'm just surprising myself by how I can reinvent myself like this. Like, how on earth did I go from someone who was such an atheist and was actually like really, really, really harsh against those who believed in God, to now suddenly being like, I know God? That is a totally different thing too. Did you grow up as someone who believed in God and God that belief installed into you? Or did you discover God through your life experience, through some event, through some turbulent moment or moments? It takes courage to shift beliefs. I do not care what kind of belief that you're sitting with right now. But I know that this is not a belief for me. This is not a belief. Because this belief can't be kind of stripped away. It's a knowing. It's a clear, cognizant knowing. And this can only truly be known when you bloom beyond perfectionism and come back to your truest essence. Because that truest essence, my dear friend, light, sunflower, and bloomer, that essence is connected to God. That essence is stripped away from anything fake, anything that's an armor, anything that is not true. So when you then come back to truth, to the truth of your core essence, God reveals itself. So I'm not an atheist anymore, because I don't look at the world that way anymore. I'm not a materialist anymore. I don't think the world's made out of matter. Right? I am not a perfectionist anymore, because I don't have a need to push, prove, and please anymore, or the need to rationally, logically know the answers to things. This is my truth. And it's part of my journey. And I wanted to invite you to see my journey as I do. I now would like to invite you to apply to join the Bloom Beyond tribe, which is a tribe for other high performers with perfectionism who might feel like they have this kind of need to push, prove, and please, or who feel like the world is on their shoulders and that everything depends on them and what they do. Being disconnected from this knowing that I've been talking about. So if this is you, then I invite you to join the Bloom Beyond tribe, to get curious about an alternative perspective, but more so, it's actually about you coming to this truth or another truth yourself. Who am I to say what your truth is? Truth will come to you and unravel itself and be activated in you when you bloom beyond perfectionism. And that's why I'm so passionate about this, about decluttering the installed beliefs, subconscious beliefs around who you should be, what you should believe, to come to the knowings, the deep knowings that is there, that's always been there and will always be there. It's just a matter of you coming back to it, returning to it. So go to bloombeyond.com/apply to apply, and I might see you on the other side. Stay bright, stay brave, and stay balanced.